Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with strength and conditioning coach Chris Grayson. I've been studying nutrition and involved in the health and fitness for how long now?
Since '99.
Since '99, a long time. He just introduced me to a book. I was amazed. It's called The 150 Healthiest Foods on Earth. And I noticed here that one thing is there's nothing in there. There's no Coca-Cola.
No.
There's nothing on ice cream.
Nothing.
There's nothing on cookies and much of the standardized Western diet. Why isn't that in there? But there's everything that the Creator's given us, some natural foods. Let's go to the one, there's so many, but the dates.
Ooh, the dates.
We went on the dates. But how come these foods aren't in there? The standard things that we're used to eating.
Because they're not good for you. And, you know, anybody that does any research should know this.
So,
anything in this book is good and you should be eating this stuff. So this is a great resource.
But these are real foods.
It's all real food.
This is all real food. We got coconut. What is this? This is cranberry. What else? Keep going. You got dates. There we go. We got dates. Look at that. So if you want something sweet instead of a Snickers bar
there you go.
or a Hershey's, what are these, Kiss, give yourself a Kiss with a date, huh? And you got vegetables in here, so you got all the sweet food. Tons of vegetables. Wow.
Tons of vegetables, beets. And what's cool is too, anything you come across that has a star is like extra good for you.
Yeah.
According to him. And he has a PhD in nutrition. What I love about this guy is he stays in academia. And he's unbiased. This is not like a religion. He always looking for is the truth. So he'll change his mind if there's a good reason. He'll change his opinion if there's a good reason. Completely unbiased, just looking at the evidence, the science, the research, and stays up to date with his colleagues and people in the industry that are the best of the best in their field, whether that's doctors, whether that's nutritionists, whether that's naturopaths, you name it.
We're hearing a lot from many holistic doctors, from people like yourself, nutritionists, people who are really involved in the health industry who've gone above and beyond. They are telling us that the food is affecting our health, the fake foods. What is your thought on that?
Well, yeah, I think I'm a victim of... I've known these things for a long time now, so it's hard sometimes to discuss something like that because it seems, I think I take it for granted because I've known a lot of this for a long, long time. So to me, it's common sense. But yeah, it's most certainly affecting you. The problem that we're in today isn't just the junk food, but the problem is we're putting ammonium nitrate, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides on our soil. The soil gets depleted of minerals. The plants have deficiencies, the animals that eat the plants have deficiencies, and we all have deficiencies. And these, over time, if they don't get addressed, ultimately they develop into diseases. And the problem today is we're not looking for these problems until they're a disease. You don't end up with type 2 diabetes overnight. There's a spectrum. You end up glucose intolerant, insulin resistant, diabetic. If we paid attention to this in the medical profession, we would catch these things before they became issues. But the thing is, all these companies are in cahoots with each other. The agricultural industry, the chemical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, they're all in cahoots because if they make deficiencies, the chemical industry puts this stuff on our crops. The crops have deficiencies. What happens? We have deficiencies. We go to our normal doctor that learned Western medicine. The curriculum was provided by the pharmaceutical industry. We go to see him. We say, hey, I'm depressed, or I'm sorry, not depressed. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. This actually happened to me once. And the doctor, he says, you're depressed. And you say, why? You know, that's a symptom of depression, fatigue. Then they try to put you on a medication, whether it be Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, you name it. They don't get to the root problem. Oh, you're fatigued because you have a lack of nutrition. You have deficiencies. Maybe you have gut issues. You have inflammation. It can go on and on.
Is a good start to start eliminating all faked processed foods and to eat real foods? Is that a good start?
It's a great start. You know what I do with people in here that come here? See, this is what happens with what I do, because people come here and they think exercise is the answer. They think exercise is going to solve all their problems. And I wish it did, because if it did, I would own more gyms, I'd make more money. And if I was going to be a liar, I would tell the lie that yes, exercise is going to make all the difference, but it's not. It's lifestyle that makes the difference.
Lifestyle makes the difference?
So what I try to do with people when they come here is give them resources. The problem is people, they don't have good resources. So the first thing I try to give them is good resources. What I love about this book is it is a resource. You don't have to read this book cover to cover. It's not like a regular book, like a novel that you read from page 1 all the way through. You can jump around and you can learn about all these different foods, why they're good. You can learn a lot about the food, and you know that if it's in this book, you're going to learn about it and you know you can eat it. So you're giving somebody a good resource, and that's the first thing. People have to have good resources. And then from there, what I do from there is I try to discover what's the one thing that if they changed is going to give them the biggest bang for their buck, or their biggest return on their investment. And their investment can be time. Time is an investment, correct? So I identify what the one thing is, and I try to have them work on that one thing. Because the problem today outside of resources is we have habits. It's not always easy to change habits. If somebody came to me and they're eating Captain Crunch or Lucky Charms for breakfast, and I told them to eat broiled sea bass and asparagus, that might not be the best advice, because that might be too hard to go from Captain Crunch to broiled sea bass. So you have to give people advice and work on one thing so it can be consistent for the long term, and it can be a part of their life forever. Because the problem with a diet, when somebody says I'm on a diet, what that means is ultimately they're going to be off a diet. That's a problem, because these things need to be a part of your lifestyle for the rest of your life. So you got to find things that are going to work for you forever, so you can be consistent, long-term, and compliant. Otherwise, it's a short fix. So,
thank you so much. Eat real food, avoid fake food. Is that some good advice?
It's great advice.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, guys, that was Chris Grayson, my strength and conditioning coach, who's been involved in health and nutrition since the late 1990s. So he's been telling me a lot about this stuff for a long time, and now it's really starting to sink in. And I really, over the years, now really started to take it to another level. And I'm trying to bring these things to light to you. And he turned me out to this book that he was mentioning. When I first saw it, I was just amazed. I said, wow, from the cover where it says 150 healthiest foods. And then what caught my attention also here, an endorsement by Fred Pascour, MD, and there's other medical doctors. And that's a good sign, you know, when you have medical doctors, conventional medical doctors, who are going above and beyond and starting to study food. And it also helps you to be grateful, right? It connects you like, wow, this is like real food. Who created the food? You know, you start to develop the gratitude when you really start to look into this food. Let's go through this book real quick. I'm excited, as you can see, to read this book, to go through it. One of my favorite things to eat are sweet potatoes. Right? This is a very healthy, real food. Let's go to something else. There's so many here. These are all real foods that the Creator has blessed us with. And it reminds me of the ayah in the Quran where the Creator is telling us, eat of the tahibat, the good, pure foods. These are the foods. And in them, you'll see there's descriptions of all of the health benefits. Now, the unique thing is, you're not going to find that with the fake foods. You're not going to have any benefits from these toxic foods that I'm trying to get the message out that we should get out of the masjids. Foods that are actually toxic, cancer causing, diabetes causing, heart disease causing, really bad foods. So replace them. Let's look at, for instance, brothers and sisters, apples. Look at that. You've heard the old cliche, which actually ended up being true. Look, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. is a good example of one of those old cliches that actually turns out to be right, according to Dr. Derma. And then it goes on. Look, that men who eat 1 apple a day lower their risk of heart attack by 32%. Look at that. How many doctors are recommending that their patients eat organic apples? Come on, before the drugs get prescribed. Come on, people. Avoid fake food. Look at that. We can be bringing to the masjid apples. How about bananas? Look at that. High in potassium. It's sweet. And it's a real food. Ding, 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 ding. Look at that, huh? There's no fake foods here, so you won't hear me like our friend Jim Marlowe on the other video I posted where the fake foods. These are all real foods. Let's move on and see what else is in this book. I'm very excited, as you can see, because we've gone away from eating the foods that the Creator's given us, and we're eating a lot of this garbage, junk, fake foods. But look, you want something sweet? Let's see what the author says about dates. You know, it's a sunnah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, Muhammad, he would eat dates, and it's recommended. Look at this. I've heard dates described as nature's candy. Look at that, nature's candy, and I think that description is on the money, because they are such an amazing source of nutrients you can't get anywhere else. Look at that. No, they're on the list because, well, let's face it, we love sweets. So if you love sweets, look, eat dates. And he goes on. And if you're going to eat sweets, they might as well come in a package that does minimal harm and actually might do some good. Look, full of sugar, but also full of nutrients. That's the difference. It's not processed, refined, man-made garbage. And there's a difference, like my friend Chris was saying. So the person who's able to consume more dates, the person who's actually riding horseback or being active rather than just sitting at a computer all day. Goji berries, that's another great food to replace fake foods in the masjid. The goji berries. Look at this. Oh, subhanallah. Brazil nuts. Wow. Brazil nuts have the highest selenium content of any food I know of, and for this reason alone belong among the world's healthiest food. And the list goes on of all the benefits. And again, you're not going to, if you open up a book on Coca-Cola, if you open a book on Mountain Dew, Pepsi, you're not going to find any benefits. But do some research and you're going to see all of the potential harm that comes from these fake food, cookies, cakes, ice cream, all the garbage. Look at that. You know, look at that. The milk that the Creator has given us, raw, not the pasteurized, homogenized milk. Subhanallah. I know there's a lot of propaganda against raw milk, the same way there's a lot of propaganda against the eggs. And look, let's look at eggs. I can't say enough good things about eggs. They're nature's most, and I would put, instead of nature, they're God's, right? The Creator's most perfect food. Eggs are plentiful, inexpensive, easy to prepare in a zillion different ways, and loaded with vitamins. They're also one of the best sources of protein on the planet. Make sure they're from healthy chickens, organic, pasture-raised, not from conventional eggs. Look at that. And we get into like meats. Look, free range. Free range. What does that mean? Not from these sick chickens. We move on. If you go on, we're almost done. Grass-fed. Look, one thing halal, but also the people who are selling the halal meat, make sure the animal is healthy. What did Allah give the animal to eat? Grass, and more grass. Look at that. And if we eat from a healthy animal, of course, look, then we should be healthy, but not a sick animal pumped with drugs and antibiotics because it's sick and stressed, and then you're eating that meat. Of course, people are getting sick from that. All right, so we have liver. Oh, let's go. But liver is really a great food. In fact, gram for gram, it contains more nutrients than any other food, the most bang for your buck. I used to hate liver, but once I re-educated my taste buds to go ahead and reverse the process of actually eating to live instead of living to eat, and asking myself, how can this benefit me? Then I started to eat those good, wholesome foods. The real foods. A couple more, and then let's olives. This is a familiar fruit, huh? This is also mentioned as one of the healthiest foods. Oh, sauerkraut. This is one of my favorites. A great natural, look, non-pasteurized, of course. And this is a great probiotic. Sauerkraut. There are too many to list. One from a sea vegetable here, according to PhD Linda. Sea plants are gifts from the sea. They're a gift from the Creator to us. These foods are a gift for us that nurture us. How about this one, guys? Avocados. This is another one of the foods I really enjoy eating. Let's see what the author has to say. Avocados are an amazing food, but until recently, you'd never know it. Avocados were almost a casualty of the fat phobia that swept the nation back in the 1980s. That fat phobia has not yet died as much deserved death, but there are promising signs that it's dying out, which is good news for those of us trying to redeem the reputation of this glorious high-fat foods that are really, really good. Look, you want a natural antibiotic? Garlic is a global remedy. It's one of the oldest medicinal foods on the planet. Oh, we know there's a ton of misuse of antibiotics. You go to the doctor, he sees you for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and gives you an antibiotic and overuse of them. So my recommendation, guys, as I've been saying, eat real food. Avoid junk, fake food. All right, guys, so I wanted to share that with you. Simple message. Eat real food, avoid fake food. Very simple, easy to understand. And let's get this fake food out of the masjids. I mentioned some of the things that we can replace it with. And that is the kind of thing, the things that we can do to prevent, inshallah, God willing, the diseases and the sickness. And at the end of the day, after we've tried everything in our power, then we leave our trust to the Almighty. And a person can, on the flip side, do everything they can, and then they get sick. But at the end of the day, they did everything they can. So let's do everything we can in this aspect to not poison our children and ourselves with much of this toxic junk, the fake foods, and put the real foods in our body, the foods that are a healing for our body and will be of benefit for our bodies and our health. Thank you, guys. Assalamu alaikum. And one more thing, don't forget, this Saturday, December 23rd, we have former chief nutritionist for Dr. Mercola, Jim Marlowe. He's been studying nutrition for 40 years. Also, Dr. Hashim Chosovich. They'll be at Darul Quran. Health, which way are you headed? We're going to be learning some of the basics of food, real food, and nutrition. And then there'll be a great Q&A. You can ask your questions. So try your best to bring you and your family. And I want to see more of this. I want this to take off, where more masjids are educating community leaders, people with a voice. This is a great way to help people by educating people, because it's affecting us all. 100,000 people now, 100 million people now in the U.S. are either pre-diabetic, on their way to get diabetes, or diabetic, heart disease, inflammation of the body leading to chronic diseases. Kids, adults are sick. We become a sick nation. So as Muslims, we need to be on the front line, educating people, educating the community about what they can do before it hits home. And for many people, it has hit home, and many of these diseases are reversible with proper nutrition, with proper lifestyle change, commitment to it. But many people don't know these simple solutions. So it starts with education. Start it in your masjids. If you do, we'll help to promote it. Inshallah, this can be an act of ibadah, because you're being a benefit. You're inviting to something good, something wholesome, something pure, something simple. Educating people on eating real food, avoiding fake food. I hope to see you at Darul Quran, December 23rd at 1 p.m. Make sure you're there. And if you do one of these at your masjid, send us the flyer. We'll help, inshallah, to promote it. Assalamu alaikum.